All right. Anybody there? About 1 minute late, despite my most sincere effort to start at 22:30 on the dot. Got a few people coming in. Good evening. Now all I got to do is pull up this another window here so I can see what the chat looks like. All right. Dominique, Little Snips, Eliza, or is it Elisa? Not sure. Michael, JJ, Rayner, Jewel, Jesse, Brody, Kimberly. Good evening, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well. Just taking another few seconds to, hey there. Anybody coming in? Brooklyn, Missed Advance, Ego, Kitty, Mannequin of Chaos. I remember you from somewhere. Famine 52. You clever subscriber, you. 999. Hello, everyone. Hex. Good evening. All right. So, New Jersey, huh? Nice. Hello from Pennsylvania. Lydia, Walter White. There. All right, folks. Well, looks like there's a handful of us here, and maybe a couple more will trickle in a little bit later on. Hey there, Axeman. Very nice. I think I've talked about the idea of being a god before. It's a tantalizing concept. I'm sure we'll get into it later on. 999, you're from Canada. Nice. Saya Wolf, good evening, sir. Penny Dreadful Moment. Hello there. Hello, Dre. And James. James Taylor. Are you someone I know personally, James? If you are, don't say my real name on here. Believe it or not, I do have one. Raven's Revenge. Man, we got people from all over the states and even in Canada. Very nice. Night Companion. Greetings, friend. Yes, Penny's videos are something else. She's just getting back into the game, too. She might be joining me here if I catch the urge to start drawing. Jellybean, go ahead with your question while we wait for a couple more people to come in and say hi. Al from Fresno. We got a lot of Californians here. Huh? It's probably what 7:30 over there p.m. Very nice. Lawrenceville, Georgia. I have some friends and family there. Miss Soto. Greetings. Maria, Texas. All right. All right, guys. So here's the plan. Things didn't go exactly as I was expecting they would, but we're going to roll with what we've got. So it's almost been about a year since I started this great journey of mine on YouTube. And you guys have been, some of you have been here since almost day one. Not many of you, because my first couple months were I had very few people paying attention to me, maybe only 20 to 50 subscribers for the first. Yes, that's my real face. Minus the eyes, of course. But yeah, I had about 20 or 30 people following me in the first couple of months, because I uploaded my first video in December, if you guys were unaware, starting with the Dream Chronicles and everything like that. And it wasn't until Let's Read featured me on his channel, which I'm eternally grateful for. Oh, we got somebody from the UK. Nice. Greetings, friend. And please forgive me if I don't get to each and every one of your comments in this. Just know that it's going pretty fast and I'm kind of multitasking. So if you just want to, Wilfa, today you were noticed. Somehow I always get that. But if you guys see me skipping over your comment, believe me when I tell you it's not intentional. Even if you're being a troll, I'll still respond for the most part. So it's definitely not, I'm definitely not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just can't really keep up while I'm looking at notes and I'm looking at other things, and my mind is going the entire time. Wow, Denmark, huh? That's cool. Wonder what it's like over there this time of year. Thank you, James. Axeman, you are something else, my friend. All right. So anyway, back to what I was saying. 5,000 and now almost 5,500 subscribers. It's hello in Miami. I just did a collaboration with Dark Waters like 2 days ago. You should go by and check it out. He called me up the other day and asked me if I want to do an interview. And I agreed. So that's up on his channel right now if you want to check it out. It goes back into my motivations for doing YouTube and things like that. Brody, I believe I did get your story, but if I haven't responded yet, that means I haven't read it yet, because I'm very far behind. I've been swamped with my actual professional work. And, you know, I wish YouTube could be my only job, but this is kind of a hobby right now until it starts picking up, if it ever does. For now, I'm just kind of working with my mysterious profession, which kind of has been revealed among other videos on my channel in the comments and stuff like that, if you have been really urgently seeking it. But if not, you might not be aware. Thanks so much to all you guys that are here right now. And you're going to be basically hearing the majority of this story that I have to say in real time. People have been asking me about something deep, something that's critical to who I am as a person and as a storyteller. It all kind of wraps up into one massive adventure that hopefully you guys will want to come with me on during the next hour or so. And while I tell this story, it's going to be kind of important that I try to stay on track. I might not be able to stop in the middle of any in the middle of the story to look at your comments or anything like that. So I'll try to go back up and catch up with anything significant that stands out. And if I don't get to your question or your comment, just say it again once I'm all done with this, because we're going to move on to some other cool stuff that I have planned for tonight after I tell this story. So, if you give me 1 second, I will get right into that. All right. Just had to send a text to someone real quick. Okay, so I want to share with you guys. All right, well, Kitty, I will probably be doing another drawing because there's something in the story that I'm about to tell you guys that you might want to have some kind of visualization for it. And although this, hello lobsters, although this, although this entity, this object that I might try to draw for you guys later, is very difficult for me to capture in an art form. I'll probably end up trying to do that, and I can't say how well it's going to turn out. But if that does happen, I might try to grab Nyx over there, and I've already forewarned her about this, but I'll call her in for backup to help curate the comments in the chat while I do that drawing, just like you might have saw on my last live stream. You know, she and I worked pretty well together doing that. So if you guys really want to see me take a crack at it, because believe it or not, I'm not as good as I wish I was on drawing things on demand, especially live in front of a few dozen people. I'll do my best if we have time later on to draw one of the main subjects of this story I'm about to tell you. So here we go. The thing that people have been asking me about is an aspect of my mind that I've alluded to many times. I've always talked about having this connection with wolves, with canines, and it's a very deep-seated part of who I am. And what I'm about to tell you is kind of the origins of that entire part of me, and it's literally ingrained into every fiber of my being right now. It's always influenced who I am and the decisions that I make. So here it is, basically. Ever since I was a boy, I kind of had various experiences talking and communicating with dogs, and this is something that has been near and dear to my heart. I've always loved dogs. Time, and like I said, these are all going to be kind of off the cuff little snippets of my life going from my childhood up until now that will weave in some other elements that I've only hinted at before. I'm going to basically tell you explicitly what's going on, and if it interests you, I hope it does. And I hope I don't put you to sleep, because that seems to be a common thing. But I'll give you an example. One day I was walking from Blockbuster. I was walking home from Blockbuster down in South Florida. And you might not, I don't know, if you're too young, you might not remember that store, but it was a place where you could rent videos and video games, and probably had a rented Super Nintendo cartridge in my hand on my way home to enjoy it. So I had to walk past this house to get to Blockbuster. And in that house, there was always these 3 dogs in the windows, jumping up and down, barking like crazy. They were kind of medium-sized dogs. I don't remember the breeds that they were, but they were really, really excited to get out there and probably bite the hell out of me. So I was walking to Blockbuster, walked past these dogs. They're jumping up and down, screaming at me. On my way home, passing that house again, for some reason, I just happened to show up there as their owner was pulling into the garage. These dogs dashed away from the window, ran out the garage door, past their owner, and I was about a block or two down the street by that time, past their house. They all charged straight at me, and I turned around, and I kind of just knelt down a little bit and looked into their eyes. And these things were coming at me full blast, full bore, ready to attack, is what it seemed like. And you know when a dog is rushing you, intending to bite you. That's what it was. There was no question about it in my mind. But when I looked at them, they all kind of just went their separate ways and just wandered around. One of them started spontaneously eating grass for some reason. I'm not sure why. I never did figure out what was up with that. But they just stopped in their tracks. They completely diverted from their previously single-minded purpose of attacking me. So that was one time these are just two that I remember that come to the front of my mind. That was one time. Another time was I was walking in another neighborhood down the street. There was this black Labrador. And for some reason, most black labs that I've ever met have been exuberant, very pleasant, and they usually love me, but this one seemed to be enraged. And it was in such a fit of rage that it was chained to a pole or something inside of its garage. It broke the chain that it was tethered to and ran straight toward me again in order to attack me, or so it seemed. I knelt down the same way and I stared at it, and I kind of like whispered something under my breath. I don't recall how exactly it was, but that dog stopped in its tracks again, just like the others, but even more intensely this time, because it kind of just stared into my eyes like it just had seen the most terrifying sight you could imagine. And it stared that way, and it didn't move a single muscle that I could see. And I kind of just kept on walking, but I looked back about a block down the road, and the dog was still stuck there, like frozen, staring off as though I was still standing right in front of it. So that was just two of many, many times where I had these bizarre interactions with dogs. I always loved them, though. I actually had a dog that, well, it wasn't my dog, it was my grandmother's dog. It passed away several years ago, maybe about 12 years ago or so. Same age as my oldest younger sister. And I used to run around, if you could picture this, run around on all fours with, I saw that dog.exe error. That's funny. Thank you for that, Axeman. Made me lose my train of thought there for a second. I used to run around on all fours with this dog. His name was Roscoe. One of the best dogs I've ever seen. He was a lab and a Rottweiler mix. Beautiful dog. And he had a bunch of siblings, but no access to them. And he didn't really see a lot of other dogs. So it was like when I was with him, I was the dog with him. And he loved me for it. And I tell you the truth, when that dog died, I probably cried more than any human family member that has died that I know of. For some reason, I just had a very special connection with Roscoe. I still miss him to this day. But it's just another element of the kind of close relationship that I've always felt with dogs. So as I got a bit older, maybe around the age of 15 or so, one day I decided to sit down and meditate. And this part is going to kind of spin off into a different place, but then it's going to come right back to this whole wolf motif. I guarantee it. So one day I decided to sit down and meditate as a teenager. And when I did that, what I did was empty my mind until there was basically nothing but the darkness of procreation, where, when it gets so pitch black and so dark in your mind that the only way to go is up. The only thing you can do from there is create. And that's what happened. Just as if you heard my stories, The Dreamer, the way that story started, the way I created that world and that universe from nothing, this is the exact technique this technique was born on this day that I'm talking about now. The way that I create my stories, when I create a creepypasta or when I create any kind of story, even the twisted children's tales, where I take a 2-sentence children's story and bring it to life in another way. I start kind of in this same way. So, in that darkness, in front of me, I watched as my mind basically summoned a new world for myself to explore. And what it ended up being was kind of a vast desert-like planet. No obvious signs of life at first glance. So, in that meditative state, what I did was go down to that world in order to traverse it and see what I could find. And this is all things that my mind is creating spontaneously. I don't focus or try to create this or that. I kind of let this happen and then go down to see what I find there. So after some time of wandering that desert, I encountered my first living thing there. What it was a colossal figure, sort of silhouetted by the sun in a hazy atmosphere. If you could imagine that slight yellowish brownish haze that you see in far off shots of a desert. So you see it in movies all the time. It kind of has that wavy haze to it. And what I saw was a gigantic, maybe 100 or 200 feet tall, I couldn't tell because of the distance, roughly humanoid frame with the head of what appeared to be a wolf. It was walking directly toward me. Everybody who's popped in the past few minutes, hello there. Thanks for coming by. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the story. It's going to get weird, so just be warned. So, naturally, this figure was so gigantic, it appeared to almost move in slow motion. It's so huge that its movements were not the same as what you would expect on a normal 6 foot tall person like myself, or I'm taller than 6 foot, but still, you know what I mean. So it's just this hulking creature kind of walking toward me through the desert. And although that it was a figment of my own imagination, and I knew this, I just had this bizarre feeling that I had to avoid being spotted by this thing. I almost had a sense of dread just buried underneath, somewhere deep inside my chest. So I did that. I did my best to hide, and the thing eventually walked right by me. So I visited that world every day for the next several months, and I even have a small leather-bound book that I wrote with an ink pen documenting the things that I saw, I eventually started to see other creatures there. You know, none of them that really are worth mentioning right now during this story because the main focus is that wolf creature. So I started calling that creature the Nameless One because, I was being a bit dramatic at my young age, I admit. It's kind of cheesy, but that's what I did. And eventually I started calling him X because Nameless One started to sound a bit contrived. And just so you know, that name, X, is where Mr. X comes from. It's based on that very creature. If anybody was ever curious about that. Yeah, I know it's very, very cheesy. Can't really blame myself for being 15 or whatever it was. I was a child of the 80s and 90s, and that's what we did back then. We did cheesy stuff. So deal with it. So, despite the fact that I was kind of scared of this creature, I felt this connection to it, just as I felt a connection to any time I'd seen a wolf or a dog. I felt a similar spark of familiarity there. And after a while, I started to realize that this thing wasn't just a figment of my imagination. It was more of an aspect of who I was. Maybe that fear and that hesitation that I had before was some kind of not immune response, but some kind of response or a defense mechanism for me not wanting to delve so deeply into my own mind, into my own psyche. And I still, to this day, I'm not completely sure as to what that could mean, that a part of my mind is literally a wolf man, or looks like a man with a wolf, the head of a wolf. I've been told before that I was possessed by a demon. Maybe that explained it. Who knows? But after that time frame where I first began to encounter that entity I called X in my mind, I started noticing changes in my real life, in my physical life. My sense of smell increased dramatically. I noticed smells in the air with vivid detail. I could tell. I used to be able to follow someone's path through my neighborhood just by detecting their scent. And I might have said this before to you guys, but we would actually have my friends do, single blind experiments where they would have me in my house and have one of my friends walk a specific path around, down the street and past certain cars or around a car, and then go into one of the buildings and come out. And I would actually be able to track the exact path that this person took. And it was pretty remarkable at the time. And I mean, if I tried to do that now, I would fail miserably. But not only that, I was able to see in almost total darkness pretty clearly. And it was just an amazing experience, an amazing new life that I enjoyed with all these different abilities for several years. And right now, my sense of smell is definitely better than average, but it's not, my smell and my vision are nowhere near the levels they were when I first discovered X. And I don't mean ecstasy, the drug. I've never taken that. I want to make sure that that's pretty clear. Hello, Sydney. I just noticed this question. What do you mean about the interview? Go ahead and type that in there, and I'll see if there's a response that might be appropriate. So, also around that time, I started having dreams of becoming a wolf. In dire moments, I would transform into a wolf to save myself or to save my brother if he was in trouble. I think that I might have written that story of that particular dream in one of my earlier videos, one of my first handful of videos where I used to talk about my dreams. Whenever I was in dreams and I was running like a wolf, and I felt like I was becoming a wolf anytime I ran. And it was a feeling that's literally no less exhilarating than flying. I've flown in dreams many times, and the feeling of being a wolf and running physically in your dreams, it's the same as flying to me. And as a side note, I wanted to mention real quick, a couple months ago, I did a video on a werewolf ritual that a young friend of mine was gracious enough to provide me with. And ever since that video came out, I mean, to this, as recently as this week, people have been emailing me saying, "Hey, Mr. X, I need to know what that ritual was. I need to be put in contact with Brad to let me know. I want him to let me know how to do this ritual because I've always wanted to be a wolf. I've always wanted to have the ability to transform into a wolf and this and that." And at first I used to put people in contact with Brad because I trust him enough to know that he wouldn't advise somebody to take part in some kind of bizarre ritual that, although he did it, he kind of would rather people learn from his mistake and not repeat it. But since then, since the past month or so, I've kind of stopped even doing that, and I'll just tell people, hey, don't look too hard into that, and if you do, I'm not going to be the one to provide you with that information because, number one, I don't have it. Number two, I think you're better off being a human and not trying to take unnecessary risk to become a wolf warrior or whatever it is you think that you're going to become. Oh yes, Sydney, that is part of what happened with this whole wolf aspect of myself. Thank you for the congratulations, Hyper Shadow. So yeah, here's the thing. I've never mentioned this until I was preparing for this very story, and there may be a way, if you feel that connection to wolves and you feel the way I feel and the way I felt when I was a young boy, there might be other ways. That's the point I wanted to make on this little side note. If you venture deep down into yourself, meditate or whatever you have to do, and find that wolf within you, if it's there, you might just find that you can do more than you think you can. You can access more of your natural ability than anyone's ever made clear to you. It's something that you have to kind of learn on your own. But if you can find it, you'll have no need for any bizarre rituals that could be dangerous. No, James, I don't wish that I was born as a wolf. I definitely like being a human. But being a human with some of the abilities of wolves, that never hurts. having any extra points on your side is definitely it's definitely a plus. All right, so moving on with the story. I know you guys have a lot of questions, and I'm going to try my best to get to as many of them as I can. But if I don't finish the story, I probably never will. And I want this to be preserved for posterity. So, and this is another thing I might have said before, but it's the most frustrating part of this whole wolf aspect that I have. The thing is that when I was in high school, this only happened one time, and it didn't happen again until this year. So it's been many years, over a decade, since this has happened. But the first time it happened, it was almost maddening to me. There was a girl I saw in school. I saw her all the time, but once I had this awakening, she was different to me. She wasn't the prettiest girl or even someone that I had any interactions with whatsoever. It was someone that I never met and never spoke to. I just saw her around. But this experience of meeting the inner wolf in my mind, I just got this bizarre feeling every time I saw her or any time I was near her. I would kind of almost be able to sense where she was at any given time. There were times where I would be somewhere with my brother and I would turn around and, how's it going? I would turn around and look directly at this girl. She would not be noticing me, of course, but I would just instantly know where she was when she walked into my general vicinity. And I had this feeling that she was like me, that she was someone, for lack of a better term, I started calling these people, or myself and any other hypothetical person that I'd run into, I would say that we had wolf blood. And these people, or this person, she was the only one I saw for many years. I just had this unimaginable, strong attraction toward her for reasons I could not really comprehend. All I knew was that I should have known her, and we should have had some kind of understanding. Maybe it was just my desperately wanting to have a kindred spirit, to have someone who knew the existence that I knew. But it was so strong, and I never was able to make contact with her. I don't know why. If it was now, I would have definitely done so. And, in the years since then, I've matured enough to understand that it's okay that I never contacted her, or that I never really took the opportunity to speak to her or get to know her, or even, let alone, the pipe dream of asking her if she understood what I was thinking or what I was feeling about this. It was so frustrating. But there's a second part to this story that I'm going to tell you. Not too long ago, just a few months ago, I had a class, a training class for my job, and one of the instructors was a female, a woman, piercing grayish eyes, and she just had this aura about her. And I've matured a great deal since then, since my high school days, of course. The last time I encountered the girl that I believed had the wolf blood like myself. But this woman that I saw this year in this class, she had it, but even stronger. And I feel like since I've gotten older, or maybe since something I'm going to talk about in a minute, my YouTube presence has brought out more people that identify with me on this. I felt more prepared to deal with this. So I had this, when I met this instructor, the first thing I thought was, this woman is a wolf mother. Wolf mother. I just kept thinking that. And I know there was a rock band not long ago by that name, but the word wolf mother was in my mind whenever I dealt with her. She had this kind of regal aura about her. And as a 30-year-old man talking to someone who's even older than me, it's you'd have to understand that it wouldn't be easy for me to walk up to her and say, "Hey, are you a werewolf? Or do you have wolf blood in your veins?" So I never did. I made my peace, and I just knew that this woman is a wolf mother. And I later found out that despite the fact that she wasn't really showing any signs of this woman was pregnant. So what I'm wondering, yes, I should have used that as a YOLO moment there, Axeman, but I didn't. And this is the thing. What I'm wondering now is she the wolf, or is her child, her unborn child, the one with the wolf blood? So I don't struggle with it, but it's something that just kind of dances around in my mind every so often. I wonder if I were to actually mention that to her, would she look at me like I was a fool, which is what I assumed she would, because she just kind of has that kind of personality. But here's the thing. Here's the reason why I'm able to make peace with that so easily now. It's because after all these years of living in isolation with this condition or with this feeling, never hearing about people like me, especially, I might have had a couple of people that I suspected were like me, but I never had anyone come out and talk to me about it. But since I've gained a bit of a following on YouTube, there have been people coming out of the woodwork to basically join me in this never-ending quest of understanding for what it is that is causing me and us to go through this type of experience, feeling that you have wolf blood, or whatever the terminology that anybody would like to use, whether you want to say, hey, you feel like you're a werewolf, or you feel like you are a dog whisperer, or that you have some kind of unfathomable connection to these animals. And like Little Snips just said, I've even encountered people that have similar connections to cats and to even other animals. So, oh my goodness, 3 a.m. That's some dedication. I'm glad it's Saturday. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, that's the gist of it. I mean, you guys are now here, wolf blood or not, taking part of this journey with me. And that's what kind of gives me the peace that I need to be able to carry on without spending too much time wondering and needing to know answers. Sometimes it's really about the quest. It's about the journey that you're taking. And believe me when I tell you, wow, it's Sunday there. Well, yeah, it's almost Sunday over here. I'll probably be recording until Sunday. Little Snips with cat blood. Doesn't sound quite as cool as wolf blood, but, just saying. I'm sure it's just as special. Hey there, Selena. I hope you're well. How's that vampire bite doing? Should be all healed up by now, I'm sure. If I could get a wolf, I'd be willing to bet that I would become one of the premier wolf trainers in the world. Kitty blood sounds much better. Good one. Wow, I have 53 people watching right now. I think that, if that's accurate, which it may or may not be, that might be a record for me. Dark Pasta, I saw you back there. Hello. All right. So that's about all for that story. And I have a couple of other things planned for you. I love you too. And yeah, Rodriguez. Colby. It's an interesting spelling. Leandre means lion. Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Why not? Night companion, a hybrid wolf, a wolf hybrid male with. Okay, that must be something else. All right, good to hear, Selena. Insight. Hey there. Looney Tunes. Is it hereditary? I don't know. I really wonder about that. James Taylor, you have a dog named Mac. That's a pretty good name. 999, I try to be as honest as possible. Typically, I really struggle to think of a time where honesty would not be the best policy. Even if it hurts, even if the truth is something that's not going to win you any cool points, or it's not going to make your life as easy as you want it to be. Two things to consider. Always tell the truth, but plan for telling the truth. So if you're going to do something, or let something be done, and you know that later on you might want to lie about it, maybe consider changing course. And, hopefully you don't get into that point, that predicament, where you have to lie later on. Junior, I suppose. Or maybe J-Rod, 56. Gotta get creative there. That's pretty good. How strong is my bond with the wolf spirit? Honestly, I've felt it waning in a way, because I don't think about it as much anymore. That's something that I really haven't. As I get older and as I get more busy and more tied up with things, I just don't have the time to sit down and meditate like I used to. Think about that wolf spirit that I have within me. And I think that's the reason why my abilities have waned as well in the years. Dogman. I think if you listen to my interview over on Dark Water's channel, he interviewed me a couple days ago, and I never heard about the Dogman until I spoke to Dark Waters. And I have 2 videos on my channel. My first 2 Dogman videos are actually things that I saw while I was overseas in the military. And I had no idea what they were until I heard about the Dogman phenomenon. And that's that happened to be the most plausible story element that I could think of, that I was aware of. So I kind of used that as a label to those very stories once I found out that there was such a thing in pop culture as the dog man. So that's, that, hope that answers that question. Looney Tunes, that's a good question. The full moon. When it's hard for me to explain what happens to me during the full moon. It used to be much different. I used to be able to kind of enter an almost altered state of mind. And now, when I see it, it's kind of, it pulls at me. It makes me, I have this bizarre, unreasonable desire to stare at the full moon. And I feel these tremblings go from the base of my skull down throughout my body. And I really want to be outside and honestly be naked. I want to fully embrace the natural state of my body and mind under the full moon. And I hope I didn't give anybody any crazy or terrifying mental imagery, but that's what I feel. DJing a Halloween party. Headphones. That's good news, Trisha. I'm glad you were able to drop in. Thank you. Is there going to be a full moon on Halloween? Because if there is, I'm afraid I can't guarantee the safety of anyone in my neighborhood. Although normally I'm quite the protector. I'm just joking. I'm not going to go out and do anything crazy. Nor would I succumb to such primal, primitive urges if I had them. Because I don't. I just get this really strong desire to run around in the woods under the full moon, naked. And that's the last time I'm going to mention that. All right. So, I tried to do something earlier I didn't give you guys too much notice, but I was going to do kind of a sweepstakes, right? Where you guys would write 2-sentence horror stories, and whoever gave me the best one, Axeman, I don't know where you're going with that, but I'm getting worried. Yeah, so I did get 2 brave souls that did send me 2-sentence horror stories. And those 2 people, if they're available, are going to be able to have a couple of minutes to do some shout outs and ask me some questions live on the air in just a second. Hey there, Peter. So what I'm going to do now is while I'm talking, if you guys want to put some in the comments or in the chat or anything like that, I will definitely read them out. But what I'm going to do is send an email invitation to one at a time of those 2 people who were brave enough to take that first step and send me a 2-sentence horror story. So if you guys give me 1 second, and don't worry, if you're not as much the creative type and you really would like to come on here and talk to me for a little bit, I'm going to come up with something and I'm taking suggestions in the chat. I'm going to come up with something that will allow you guys to have that chance. All right, so hopefully nobody decides to curse me out or anything like that. I don't think you will, but you never know. And as always, you guys can feel free to continue. Right now, I'm paying a lot more attention to the chat. So if you have any questions that I didn't get to, or any comments that you wanted to tell me about, go ahead and throw them in there now, because I'm a lot more attentive to it now that I'm done with that story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And for anybody who looks at this in the future, now you know. Now you know where the name Mr. X comes from, or that's part of the. Oh my gosh! I stood at the election booth. I broke into a cold sweat. I had accidentally voted for Trump. That's pretty funny. Oh, lobsters. She was wondering why she was seeing two shadows. After all, there was only one light bulb. Very interesting. I like that one. Lobsters. And Jewel. I think you both are going to get you're both going to get a minute here. Naked running with shoes. Who does that? Night companion. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty weird. I would not be wearing shoes if I was running around embracing my wolf blood. That's for certain. All right. First up, it's going to be someone that you kind of already know. It's Brad. He was the subject of my werewolf ritual video, so what a fitting first person to show up on this chat. Oh, Famine 52, the wolf thing. Being involved in my real job. Not really. Not really. Hey, Brad, if you're in there, check your email. I sent you a link to jump onto this chat for a few minutes. I look forward to speaking to you. Selena, you're asking if I'm happy. I'm pretty happy. I appreciate your concern. Is there something that makes me seem less happy today? It's been a long few weeks. Maybe that's it. Maybe I sound a little under the weather. I am the red. I sent both people an email, but Hillary deleted them. It's always nice when, well, this election, I'll speak very briefly about it. This election is it's kind of fun and unique in a way that you can make fun of pretty much every you can make fun of both of the major candidates, and nobody's really going to give you crap about it because they're both so terrible. Yep, I'm giving Brad 1 second. I'm sure he'll be around. I know he's listening. Okay, man, these comments are starting to go pretty fast. Yeah, Famine 52. If I was able to use those abilities in any meaningful way, I would definitely do so, and it would be awesome. But I'm unfortunately, I really, it doesn't really come up. And if I was to comment too much on that, the reason why I'm being kind of short with it, it's because I'm not quite ready to reveal that information as to what my professional career is. Mr. Hang Glider Man, yes, I would absolutely love to make YouTube my career. That would be the best thing ever because I enjoy doing this way more than any job I've ever done. And I get to speak with a lot more awesome, amazing people than I do at my job. So, absolutely. And Rebecca, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. And this probably doesn't come as a surprise to you, but I think you're awesome as well, Rebecca. Let's see here. That's a fitting story there, Mist Advance. Very nice. Coming from someone who was a confirmed wolf blood. All right, Brad should be incoming any second now. And after that, there's going to be one other person, then we'll decide, we'll figure out a way to decide on who comes next. All right. Scroll through these questions and see if anybody else had some good stuff. Al Cortez, is that a real story about your daughter? Not sure. You guys might not know this, but I'm pretty gullible. I tend to believe the stories that people tell me, unless it's completely insane. Then I'll ask a few more questions. But if it's relatively straightforward, I'll probably take you at your word.
Hello?
Hey there.
Hey.
Is this Brad?
Yes, sir.
Greetings, my friend.
Hey.
You have anything you'd like to say?
I have to give me 1 second. Answer just a couple questions real quick. I'm going to be looking through the comments real quick.
Yes, Night Companion. I always take your word for it. Lance's creepy reading. That sounds familiar. Let me see something here. Lance, have we worked together?
Okay.
This Axeman is a funny guy.
He's had a bunch of funny comments tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Forgive me if my microphone's not very well right now. Still getting my new one.
I'm looking forward to that. You're starting a YouTube channel one of these days, right?
Yes, it should be pretty soon.
All right. So what do you got for me? Let's talk.
Okay. How often do you nowadays you find people that you feel are connected to you?
In
And
my everyday life, like physically walking around and talking to people, it's extremely rare. Like I said, there's only been 2 people that I've physically encountered that I'm aware of in my whole life that I had that persistent feeling, and that's because I was in contact. I'm not in contact with them, but in close proximity to them, pretty much on a daily basis for more than a couple days. With the first girl, it was every day at school, and then with this woman, the wolf mother, that class was a week long. So on the first day, I noticed it, and that feeling was kind of cemented throughout those 7 days.
yes, I can understand.
Yes, I know you
It
can.
seems the
How
thought
much
though
how much of your identity would you like to reveal as far as who you are in
that
relation with me?
that can be up to you. Anything I've told you, I'm okay with you sharing.
Okay, well, some people might know that this is the actual Brad of the werewolf ritual video. So he's basically on every one of my streams, in the comments, in the chats, and he has been a very loyal trooper of mine as far as guiding people that come with these, in my opinion, somewhat misguided attempts at replicating the ritual that Brad tried to perform. And he's a man that has earned my respect and friendship. And it just so happens that he was one of the 2 people that sent me a 2-sentence horror story ahead of time. So that's why he's here, and we're all able to listen to him for a few moments. Is there anything you'd like to say, or anybody you'd like to say hello to, Brad? Then you can have them listen to this at a later time and say, "Hey, I said your name and said hi to you on the internet."
Um, no people really, but I do want to say that throughout all the experiences you can have and through all the animals that you can be related to, a wolf seems to be the strongest, no matter what.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of really powerful accounts of people who are connected to cats or birds or anything like that. I would imagine if somebody had some kind of connection to like an owl or an eagle or something like that, there's got to be lore out there about that, especially in the Native American territory. I bet
Yes,
you there's some pretty good ones. But then again, wolf is always going to be a part of that as well.
the wolf, eagle, and bear are the three most that you'll see. Because if you ever look at a totem pole, on the very top is an eagle, and
Mm,
it represents a lot, which it's hard to explain because different tribes have different meanings for it. But
hmm.
if someone really wants to know the meaning of what they feel connected to, they'll research and find the answers to
Right.
what they think, what they believe, and what they feel.
Like what you did.
Yes, like I did.
Oh, very nice. All right. Let's see here. All right. So, I'll tell you what. I am going to bring in my good friend, Nix, if she's available. Are you there, Nix? I'm going to send her a message real quick so have her attention,
Okay.
because I think that we're going to do some drawing in a little bit. And if it's all the same to you, Brad, thank you very much for coming on as my first subscriber guest on my live stream. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you
Thank you
too.
for coming by.
Thank you too, X.
All right.
I'll contact you later after the stream.
I'm sure you will. Have a good night, and let me know if you're gonna get out of here, and I'll bid you farewell.
Okay. Good night. I should be here for a while, by the way, in the comments. I'll be
All right,
lurking.
cool. If
Okay.
anybody has any questions for Brad, please do feel free to ask them there. I'm sure he'll be able to get to you for an answer.
Yes. Okay. Good night, X.
All right, Brad. Good night. All right. Let's see here. Penny, I'm going to send you, or Nix rather. It's kind of interchangeable in my mind, but I'm going to send you an email with the link to jump on here, and you can get ready to help me out. That'd be awesome. All right. Thank you guys for showing Brad some love over here. I appreciate that. Made him feel welcome, made him feel at home. Nyx, the goddess of the night. Why does that have such a good ring to it? Night companion, you have to tell me. Is that something? Is there something to that? Oh, and Nikolai, I love you too. I saw you in the comments earlier on saying that, and I don't think I responded appropriately, but now I have. All right, there's the next person seems to be a little nervous about coming online. She's telling me that she has some things she'd like to say, but she's too nervous. So, does anybody have any encouragement, any words of encouragement for our next guest to help her along so that she comes on? Because I really would like her to. I love you guys as well. Thank you for being here. I know a couple of our numbers have dropped off, but we still got about 40 people. That's good. And James Taylor, my military service is something that I don't quite get into as far as what service I was a part of, and I just don't want to talk about that at this point. There's a whole bunch of oh well, let me be clear. Nix is not the one who's nervous. Sorry about that. It's that's supposed to be coming on here in just a second. She just needs a little bit of encouragement, and I think she might do just fine. Plus, don't forget, it won't just be the two of us. It'll be Nix is on her way in. She's incoming. That might take some of the edge off. All right. And I think we're about to be graced by the lovely voice of Nix.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going, Nix?
Pretty good. I mean,
Excellent. I know this was kind of a last minute call in for the cavalry. I needed to call for backup because I think just to keep things going a little bit longer, I'm going to do at least one drawing. And I'm going to do my very best to show you guys what this X, the nameless one, what he looked like. All right. And the young lady that's having a little bit of nerve attack. I hope she's seeing these comments here because people are being very welcoming, as I knew that you guys would be. Okay. Pulling up this Photoshop here. And before we get into that, let's see if we can get Sydney in here. Make sure she got the email. All right, so Nix, when Sydney gets here, we're going to make her feel really at home, right? You there, Nix? I wonder if we're having some technical difficulties there. Okay, stand by. Got some stuff to correct. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to start paying Axeman some hourly rates to keep the chats lively on my live streams because it does a doggone good job. Lance's creepy reading. What was your comment you wanted me to read? I don't. I'm looking back up here. I'm looking for it. I don't quite see it. Yeah, Lance, you're going to have to send that again. Son of Anarchy, how's it going? Mary R. My voice exudes authority now, does it? I appreciate that. I've used that aspect of my voice to great effect throughout life. And it's never for the purposes of evil, of course. Just for when it was necessary. Jack's Bread, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Yeah, let's set up a Patreon for Axeman so that he can continue to provide his comedic relief. That would be good. Everything's going fine, Son of Anarchy. Thank you for asking. All right, so who do we have here? Is that you, Sydney? Technical difficulties abound tonight, do they not? Maybe it's because we're so close to Halloween. Oh, Kitty. You've got to get your mind out of the gutter, my friend. Stripping panties. Now that's something else. I almost feel like I should have my webcam on right now just to create some kind of visual interest. But I'm definitely not ready for that. I don't know how much you guys enjoy just staring at this bizarre looking picture of my face. And honestly, I appreciate the fact that you guys are willing to sit through that. Very much. Barney the dinosaur. Who's Barney the dinosaur? Barney the dinosaur. Is that? Oh, Barney the dinosaur, the purple guy. I'm not prepared to call him dumb. It's something that many children enjoy, I'm sure. That's a very bizarre question. I think you get a cookie for that one, James Taylor. I appreciate that. ASMR. I don't know that I'm not quite sure if I would really want to do that, just because of the fact that it involves a lot of mouth noises, and if you recall, I've said several times, mouth noises are basically the bane of my existence. I cannot stand hearing them, and I'm not so, I don't mind hearing them on other people, but when I hear my own mouth noises, it drives me absolutely nuts. It's a lot more than it probably should. All right, so I'm hearing someone's microphone that's not mine, but I really don't know whose it is. Nyx was here a minute ago, and now she's not. Yeah, I don't think I could whisper, Lance. I don't think I could whisper an entire story. I mean, it would be easy if I could just go back and redo a bunch of stories in a whisper format. That would that'd be really easy to do, because it takes me an hour to just to write one story. And yeah, I don't know if I would really want to do that. Yeah, people JJ, people kind of pop in and out as they wish, you know. But honestly, this is a pretty steady crowd, so I appreciate that. Got some microphone issues there. Would you happen to have some headphones, Sydney?
Hello.
Yes. Hello. Greetings.
How is everyone?
I'm sure they're fine. How are you?
I'm good. There's a little bit of problems going on with my laptop.
Yep. It happens to the best of us. No big deal. So, it's nice to finally speak to you. You guys might not know this, but I've had lots of traffic back and forth talking to Sydney. I've gotten to know her a little bit because, as you know, a lot of so not too many people send me emails or messages other than to tell me about stories that are going on with them. But I do like getting to know you guys. So if you hit me up on Instagram or Twitter in a message, I will pretty much, unless there's something really bizarre going on with you, which for Sydney it's not. She's a pretty regular young lady. For I mean, not a weirdo, basically, not a weirdo like me anyway. And I appreciate her very much for that. So, welcome to the stream, Sydney.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And you're in Canada, right?
I sure am.
How many Canadians do we have in the chat right now? I think we have at least one other one that has self-identified. So you guys might be neighbors.
There was snow here, so the other day. There isn't any more though.
Okay. Is it all evaporated already?
Yes.
Cool. So, what would you like to talk about?
It was just interesting when you were talking about being able to meditate and what you were able to experience. I feel that maybe everyone has experienced that in their own way. I know that it's funny that we've never talked about this, but I have experienced something along the lines of that with wolves as well, having like a
Hmm.
deep connection with wolves, and um, mostly at night, going into almost into falling asleep, but taking comfort in imagining evolving into a wolf and just being free in a wolf's body, essentially.
Hmm. That is strikingly odd that we haven't talked about that.
Yeah.
I expect we will in short order. So, how have you experienced your connection with wolves?
Um, I think it had to do with my love for dogs originally,
Hmm.
and yeah, and it just it grew from there, and just being having thought of being able to be free as an animal, and you see wolves as being such a strong leader, and I think that's maybe where it came from.
Hmm. Interesting. It's something I've spoken about a few times before. There's no telling exactly how deep these connections go between, ourselves and the other life forms around us.
Hmm.
Very interesting concept. I don't know if you've ever heard of the where I spoke to a wolf and I was kind of on this I was dreaming that I was in a almost post-apocalyptic type of world where I was the last human being and a wolf walked up to me and was basically talking to me saying, "Hey, if we get rid of you, if we kill you, there would be no human beings left on this planet." And the way he was saying it was almost like it was a good thing. And all these animals that were basically taking over the old rundown overgrown cities that mankind used to call their pride and joy, these animals were all there and they were all talking and I could hear just chattering from coming from all directions. And I said to the wolf, I said, "I can't believe you guys can talk." And the wolf told me, "Just because we don't talk to you doesn't mean we can't talk."
That's
And
very interesting that you say that.
that was a mind blowing, life altering experience for me
Hmm.
because it made me realize how arrogant of a mindset it is to think, hey, just because we don't understand and these things aren't speaking in the guttural languages that we come up with for ourselves, we assume that we have nothing in common with them, that we have no. Good night, Jewel. Oh, that's a shame.
Good night.
I that's we assume that we don't have anything in common with them that we couldn't communicate if we really tried on the deepest possible level. So I definitely think there's a lot of credence to that, to the idea that everyone has some kind of connection to whether it's a particular animal or maybe we all have connections to each other and all other animals as well. We'll, I don't know if our science will ever catch up to that, but it's
Hmm.
definitely something to think about.
And when you first mentioned it, it made me think, what what's your family history like, and what time of year were you born? Because I feel maybe that potentially has something to do with your experience from when you were a teenager.
That's an interesting question. I was born in June. My birthday is in June 1985. And it's basically, I mean, I've never been well versed in the meanings of times of the year and when you're born and anything like that. But it's my heritage. African American and Jamaican. That's all I could really. That's all I could really say. Is there anything in particular that would give you some information as far as what genetically might be involved in my experience?
Do you know if your siblings have any sort of connection like you do, or have experienced anything like you have? Like, have you been able to speak with them about that?
You know what? They've never expressed that. They've been aware of my experience, and I've never. I don't think I've ever actually came out and asked them what if they have any equivalence of that themselves. So that's interesting. Yes, Kitty, I am a Gemini. Not, I mean, I don't really know what that means. I never have, but I definitely have that label. Those are good questions because honestly, since I've discovered that about myself, I've spoken about it openly with my own siblings, but I never really thought to explicitly ask them, "Hey, do you have the same thing with wolves or with something else?" I don't know. I think I'm going to ask them that pretty soon, though, because now it's on my radar.
Yeah. I had a coworker that I worked with quite a few years ago, and she's still a close friend of mine, but she's in her late 50s. And she, as you and I do, have very vivid dreams. And she had a dream of this young girl. It was probably around World War II, in that general time. And she had a dream of this girl running away from some sort of danger. She didn't know what the danger was, but she had like a very deep connection to it, and she tried to figure out what was behind all that. And she tried to figure out if it was past memories of family members that she was remembering, like in her dreams. And I'm wondering, maybe your experience could be related to something like that.
You know what? That's a very fascinating aspect of who we are as people, and I think it ties into this whole the connection that we have with animals. Sometimes it's because we have connections with pretty much all living things. I think because people, when you have cases like children who have memories of being at war in decades before they were born, or people who show up in the dreams of other people, and when your subconscious shares some kind of space with another person who, for all we know, every single person that you see in your dreams could be a real person who's dreaming somewhere else in the world. You really never know. And I think whatever that connection is the basis of my feeling toward wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same reason why I feel connected to so many of my listeners, and yourself being one of them. I think we all kind of share a a unknown and as yet unknown, basically magical connection with one another. And I'm looking forward to one day learning more about that if it ever comes up.
It's just interesting that different people are able to access different things that they're able to connect to deeply with you and with me as well, is meditating. And then other people, it's I know a few people like smoking weed. It's just interesting how we're able to get into a deep mindset and explore these different areas. It's almost like different realms within ourselves.
Right, yeah, I know what you mean. There's a lot more intense paths than that, none of which am I familiar with, but it's very interesting to know that with certain stimuli, our brains react in these amazing and unpredictable ways. You know, it's something that I've always kind of been curious about, but I've never felt the urge to actually explore myself. But it's definitely interesting. Hey, little Snips, check your email. All right. All right, well, Sydney, I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it's been speaking to you for the first time. I appreciate you coming here and overcoming that nervousness that you had before. I'm glad everybody was able to join me in helping convince you to come online.
I appreciate everyone, and it was very fun. It was enjoyable.
All right. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll do this again sometime. And next time I'll make sure that I have all this stuff ironed out a little bit better because I know it's been a little choppy today. But I am going to shortly, or I'm still trying to figure out how to get Nix in here, so I might have time to do a drawing, but I'm gonna let you get back to whatever it is you do in Canada. I'm sure it's fascinating. I can hear your accent. It reminds me of the last time I was there a few years ago. But
I will
Sydney,
be in the comment section though. So.
All right. You have a wonderful night, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
It's been my pleasure.
Have a good night.
You too. All right. That was pretty fast. Are you there, little Snips?
Yeah.
Greetings.
Oh my gosh.
Are you okay?
No, I'm just really excited.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm glad you were able to find your way on so quickly. I was expecting some more technical difficulties, but
No,
this is good.
I already had Hangouts, so I use it every day.
Okay, awesome. Nice. It's nice to finally hear your voice. I've been reading your comments and I was able to read a couple of your emails. And now I have a voice to the text. So now from now on, whenever you send me something, send me a story or what have you, or leave a comment, I'll be able to read it in my mind, hearing your voice.
Yeah, it's kind of
So, what do you got for me?
kitty blood!
That's right. That is what you got. That's pretty brilliant. It sounds way better than cat blood. Cat blood just doesn't have that ring to it that kitty blood has.
Yeah. It's kind of
But-
funny because when you guys were talking, I was just thinking about my little sister. She loves cats, but she's more connected to dogs. And I absolutely love dogs, but I'm connected to cats. So,
So you guys have kind of a crisscross thing going on. Is that right?
yeah.
Very interesting. So how are you connected to dogs?
How I'm connected to dogs. I guess since I was first born, actually, I always had a dog by my side, and when I don't have a dog by my side, so and it goes with my little sister as well. We kind of feel there's like this empty space, and it goes for me with cats as well. So it's kind of weird.
Oh, interesting. So do you have any interesting cat-like abilities?
I actually do. In gymnastics, because I do that. I love doing it actually. I always land on my feet, and like I can be on the highest balance beam, and like I lost my balance and fall off. A lot of people, when they do that, they usually land on their buttocks, but I always land on my feet. It's weird. Even backwards.
That's a pretty good ability to have. I'll tell you that. Honestly, I don't think I've ever fallen down on my butt. Ever. Unless I did it on purpose. I've never been knocked down, and I've never like fallen off of something unintentionally. So maybe I have more in common with cats than I thought.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you know what? You taught me something about myself today. I never really made that connection there. But yeah, that's as Margbot says, reason for normal people without the kitty blood to avoid gymnastics. So there should be a disclaimer on that. If you don't have kitty blood, stay away from gymnastics. That's probably a good idea.
And that also included dance as well. They're called to be packed.
So I bet you're really light on your feet.
I am.
Good, good. Let me see here. Well, I think we're a day off of Halloween, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, little Snips, do you have any questions for me? I know you were typing into the comments in the chat. I didn't really get to respond to all of what you were saying. Was there anything blaring?
Not really. It's like like I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to talk with you because it's like getting really late. So I was asking, oh my gosh, did you like my stories and all that jibber jabber?
Oh. Well, honestly, I have not. Did I respond to your emails yet?
The update one about the demons, I like to say.
And did I respond to it yet?
No, you have not.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. That's the whole thing with my schedule right now. I've been unable to catch up with all my emails. And I'm afraid you're one of the ones that I was unable to catch up with, so I have to apologize about that.
Oh no, it's okay. I can be patient when I want to be. So.
Okay. Well, that's excellent news because I'm going to need you to be patient for a little while longer. Yeah. All right. Okay, so it looks like there's a couple more people that would like to jump on here. And so what I'm going to do is get through to them, and I'm going to let you go, Little Snips. It was so nice talking to you. And thank you so much for your support and being always showing love on my videos and commenting with all your brilliant little theories. I do appreciate those very much.
You're
All right.
welcome. You're welcome. And let you know, you're also really awesome.
You know what? I think you're awesome. I'm not awesome. You are. So
It's
thank
in my
you.
name.
It
It's
is.
in my name.
You are literally awesome. So
It's in my name.
there you go. All right, Little Snips. You have a great night.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, how did I get off?
Yes, Little Snips is always eager to leave a nice little theory as to whatever is going on in my various videos that I release each week. All right, let's see here. What we got? Son of Anarchy. Have you sent me an email, sir? I don't think so. Send me an email, and I'll see if I can squeeze you in here real quick. Trying to get Nix to come back on, but I might have sort of kicked her out of the chat unwittingly. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. It's getting a little bit late anyway. I might not have time to do the drawing on this stream. But there's always the next time. Yes. Snips did a great job. She was a little excited in the beginning there, but I think she did fine. Okay, so let me see if I can get a really clean quote so I know exactly what I'm about to say here. But Axeman wants to know what really gets my willy in a rustle. And what really gets my willy in a rustle, which you already correctly surmised, Axeman, is that mouth noises get my willy in a rustle big time. I don't know what my willy being in a rustle actually means, but I can infer based on context that it's very annoying. So now you know. All right, I need to get Penny in here because it's not going to feel right unless I do. She deserves to be here. You guys are going to have to bear with me for just a second. Margbot, this is your first live stream with me. Well, you know what? Welcome, and I appreciate that. I hope that future live streams as well. That'll be quite nice. Let me see here. So give me 1 second. I will be back with you guys momentarily. Just gotta figure out how to get another invitation sent out. Son of Anarchy, I'm waiting for your email. Can send you an invitation. And Nix, if you're listening, I've just sent you another invitation as well. All right. To the chat. McDonald's. What are you doing eating at McDonald's, Lance? Have you no self-respect? You've got to do better than that. McDonald's is a place that I find myself feeling guilty after going there if I ever do. I'd really try hard not to ever go there under any circumstances.
Hello?
Hey, all right, awesome.
Oh my god.
This is one of those nights, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is.
Okay, it's fine though. It's great.
Finally here. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad you're finally with us because I missed you.
Oh, I missed you guys too. So, what
All
are we
right.
doing?
Not much anymore. We'll see though. we will see. I was planning on maybe doing some drawing earlier, but well, hold on. I could give you guys a little preview of what my last drawing I did was, because it's probably the video that's going to be coming out next week. Let me see here. Do a screen share. And yeah, there we go. We could do that. I'll give you guys a little sneak preview. This is what I was working on. I don't know if you guys can see it yet. Does anybody see this? All right, let me see here.
Oh, there's something.
Oh. Yeah, this is I'm not going to tell anybody what the actual story is, but this is my latest drawing that I did about a week ago. I actually recorded the whole thing. Maybe I should just fake it and act like I'm drawing and just play that video for everybody. But I would have just given away my secret, so can't do that, can we?
Oh, I think I have a guess.
What do you think it is?
Sleep paralysis.
Oh, that's a pretty good guess. Oh, wow. I'm just
Either
like
that or another like incubus succubus type thing.
Oh, you're very close. It's almost a mashup of more than one of cryptid, scary story type of things that I typically get into doing. It's very disturbing. You'll hear about it very soon. Yeah, but I figured I'd try this. Man, I think my YouTube page over here is kind of glitching. I can't really see the chat. But I just had this idea last week to give some people a chance to talk to me during the stream, and it's working out pretty well. I think I'm getting the hang of it little by little. You know,
it's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and talking to people that I've never spoken to before for the first time in front of 40, 50 other people is interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, but one thing I do know about my listeners is that they're good people. So the odds of me running into someone who is genuinely terrible are very low, and I think we are 3 for 3 so far.
Well, the one thing that I've noticed about your viewers is they're very passionate about the subject matter, and that always helps. Everybody's there, and they just want to listen to your stories, get their stories out. They're real supportive of everybody else. So, yeah, you're right. You got a bunch of good guys.
Absolutely. And while we're here, just so you guys know, Nyx, a.k.a. Penny Dreadful Moment, is one of my favorite YouTubers to listen to. Aww. So every time she shows up on my stream, I always make sure to point that out, because she needs to be recognized for that. So, and I don't need you don't have to respond to that or anything, Nyx. I just want to, that's a public service announcement for the people that are listening and on into the future. Anybody else who listens to this in the future, please be advised. You should do that.
Well, I appreciate it nonetheless. I mean, it's awesome because, I mean, you're really awesome. You know, also you're a really good narrator. You have great videos. You know, the content of the stories is really tight, well put together. And then, you know, for you to say, "Oh yeah, I listen to her a lot. I like her," and I'm like, "Oh wow, really?" But
Well,
yeah,
thank you so much. It's, you know, it's funny being in this. I mean, for me, it's a hobby because I haven't gotten to the level of it being a business. But if this becomes a business for me, that would be awesome. But it just being in this niche of the world and dealing with different people with similar skill sets but totally different ways of going about doing them. Like, you know, you and I, we have totally different styles. But I mean, when I listen to someone, I don't want to hear myself. I want to hear something that's unique, something that contrasts with me. And I think that's part of the reason why we kind of work well together. If you guys didn't hear on my third live stream, Nix and I did I wrote a two-part creepy story, a part from a male perspective and then a female character afterward. And it worked very, very well. You guys should definitely go on and check that out. And I still feel like I might maybe we'll do a re-record of that and have it be a real video. You know what I mean? Like one.
really?
Yeah, I just thought of that. I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier, but
That
maybe
would be nice.
we'll, you know, so yeah, like a real edited version of that because I think it went over pretty well. And I might even have that put on some other channels or something. We'll talk about that offline later.
Yeah. It sounds good though.
Yeah. I think it'll work out pretty well. Well, let's see here. I'm waiting on Son of Anarchy. Really wanted to talk to us, but I don't see him anymore. Let me see. Let me just check one more time real quick. Okay. I'm gonna send him a link to jump on here in a few minutes, and you know, we'll see where that takes us. But thanks so much for coming up. I know you've been working hard to try to figure out what was going on, Nix, and you know, I appreciate the company because it's a lot easier for me to talk and fill the air and come up with stuff to say when I'm speaking directly to a singular entity like yourself. You know?
Oh, I
It's
know.
a lot easier.
It's like I try to do a couple of gaming videos, you know, if I see something that I like. And I'm telling you, sitting there just talking to nothing, I don't know how people do it.
Yeah. It's a skill.
Definitely.
It is a skill, and it's one that I do not yet possess.
Oh,
unfortunately.
Nix, yeah, I mean, typically Greek, but, you know, in German it's night also. So either one. And then, of course, she is the daughter of a Titan anyway. So she is the embodiment of night. So, yeah.
Nice. I feel like I should have researched that already. When he said goddess of the night, I was thinking to myself, that sounds
so familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, very familiar and also appropriate. You know, so I was wondering about that. So it's a German thing for you.
German, Greek, either way. Honestly, I named her from the Greek personification. Nix Morgan is not my name, in case any of you were wondering, but she was a D&D character that I had years ago, so I just kind of co-opted it into this.
That is an awesome name for a D&D character.
Yeah, she's a little rogue, little thief. Gotta love her.
Yeah, I actually just somebody was asking earlier if I was a gamer, And the answer is yes. And I bought Skyrim, the remastered version, today, last night.
Did you really?
And have you played Skyrim before?
I've tried, but every time, I don't know, every time I've sat down with it, something has always interrupted me, and I just have not been able to sit down with it and really, fill out the world. So it's a shame, I know.
Nice. Well, if there was ever a time to do it, it's now, because that kind of remake is awesome. And this is this is the second time I've purchased the game. I purchased
Really?
it, played it years ago, and yeah, it's really good.
I'll try
So
to
I
sit
think
down.
Son of Anarchy is here. He's in the house. Is that right?
Yeah.
Hey there, my friend. Greetings.
I'm totally freaking out right now. I'm totally happy right now. You have no idea.
Well, why is that? What are you so happy about?
I don't know. I'm just happy right now. By the way, mods in Skyrim Special Edition. I was playing that just before I hopped on the live stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. One thing I want to say to anybody who's listening to this right now, when I first got on the channel, and the first live stream, I got a lot of support from all of you. And when anybody says that we are a group of friends, or we really talk about the situation, or whatever the conversation is about, basically what I'm trying to say is I love you all, and I love this channel.
Well, you know what? I don't even have to say this, but we love you too. Especially me, Son of Anarchy. And I remember what was going on during that time. I'm not going to really bring it up right now, but how are you?
I'm doing good. That situation that happened a while back, it's not really improved, but it's better than it was before.
Okay, well, you know what? I hope that it continues to get better as you grow older. And one day, I think you'll be beyond that to the best of your ability. So, hey, you know what? No reason to question your happiness. I'm glad that you're happy. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about?
One thing I wanted to talk about was earlier when we were talking about special connections to things, and to be honest, I've never really had a special connection to an animal, but more the lines of people in general. It seems like every time I really want to get to know somebody, and it's not just like me getting to know them, I know when they're in pain, and I just kind of know it no matter what. I know when people are upset, and I've actually, at one point, one of my best friends who was going through a really bad time, I didn't even know that what was going on until I had this dream of him just crying, and he was alone. And the next day when I went and asked him if everything was really all right, and I kept asking him about it throughout the day, he eventually told me that there was a death in his family and that he was really just upset over it, and he felt like he had nobody to talk to.
Now that is interesting. I find myself fascinated with the ability for someone to be able to detect things empathetically like that. That's a really interesting trait because, and you know what? Given your background, I wonder if it's the things that you've been through in your own life that makes you well attuned to that spectrum of human emotions, so much so that you can feel those fluctuations from another person. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying, Mr. X.
It's something I haven't really thought about before, but now that you say it, it's really interesting. I'm glad you shared that with us. So, I think that in your life as you grow older, I know you're a very young man, don't let that skill fall away. Don't lose it, because I think that might be a great deal of a big part of your mission as a human being on this planet will be utilizing that skill. Don't let it waste away.
You can count on that. I definitely won't.
Good. I've noticed that certain aspects of people, even things that are deeply connected to who you are, if you don't pay attention to them, if you don't nurture and cultivate those abilities, they can slowly start to leave you. And it's happened to me in some ways, and I'd hate to have that happen to you. So I'm glad to hear that you're committed to maintaining that. I think it'll serve you well in the long run. So,
I think so too.
well, I'm glad you decided to come on. I didn't know you wanted to come into the chat or onto the stream until you mentioned it. That happened to catch my eye earlier. So I definitely wanted to bring you in. Let me see here.
Uh, if you heard that beeping, that was me. Sorry about that. But
Okay.
I, when you said that earlier, it's interesting having a voice to put to what people comment during your videos. You know,
Hmm.
I just thought it'd be inter like a little interesting because you and me have talked before, and it'd just be nice to know kind of what to put when you're reading one of my comments on one of your videos, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, now for at least the next several months, I'll be able to narrate your comments and your words in your actual voice, because my memory only lasts but for so long for details like that. But I'll definitely do my best. And who knows, maybe this isn't the last time I'll hear your voice. You never know.
Yeah,
You're
there's
part of the inaugural subscriber live stream participation event, and this is what I don't think this is going to be the last one. So maybe I'll check in on you again next time, because you'll most likely be here because you've been to every one. I think.
I think I've only missed one,
Yeah.
and that was like the
Yeah.
very
That's
first one before I even subscribed to the channel.
yeah. Well, I certainly could never fault you for that. I mean, people do have lives, you know.
Yeah, and high school life is definitely not as easy as I thought it would be.
Oh yeah. Are you new to it? Are you a sophomore?
Freshman.
Okay. Hmm. Freshman in high school. Congratulations. You're I'm not going to burst your bubble or anything, but it doesn't get any easier.
Oh, don't worry. I've had plenty of people just kind of slap that back in the face. Some of those instances,
Well,
literally, but you get the idea.
hey, you know what? It's good. It's better than people trying to tell you otherwise.
Yeah, it's the
It's
real world.
I prefer to keep it real.
Yeah, it's the real world. Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like you're well on your way, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. Well, son of Anarchy, thank you very much for coming through. I appreciate it. And
Uh,
I'm sure we'll talk again one day.
I hope so too. I gotta get going. It's 9:41 over here, and I gotta take care of some stuff now in preparation for Halloween.
All right. Well, you enjoy it and be safe.
Thank you. One last thing I want to say though to everybody who's listening right now.
I think we can barely hear you, though.
Oh, sorry. I think I'm drifting away from my phone. I'm using that to communicate.
Okay, there we go.
All right, I want to say I love you all. Even though I haven't known you all for the longest time, I think you're some of the most interesting people out there. If you ever want to talk, look me up on Hangouts, and have a spooky Halloween.
All right. Spoken from the son of Anarchy. Good night, my friend.
Good night.
Hey, I realized that, I've done a tremendous disservice to you guys. And that is because Axeman Cartoons has been in the chats all night long. And I've, neglected to let you know that he and I have been working, him mostly. He's been putting in a lot more extremely hard and insanely difficult work into this project. But if you guys are familiar with my Twisted Children's Tales stories, where I take a children's tale or a what do you call those things? Nursery rhyme, and I'll twist it into a big scary story, or probably scary story. And the latest one, I've got 3 already done, and those are up on my channel. If you haven't seen them, I highly recommend them. They're some of the things I'm more proud of than any other video, because there's one of the things that comes straight from my own mind. You know, it's always nice and it's always interesting and fascinating when I get a story from someone else and I write it up and I give it my particular type of style and read that for you guys and perform that. But these I basically take from the ground up, and it's very near and dear to my heart. And what Axeman is doing is animating a critical portion of this latest story, and it's going to be completely nuts. If you've been following him on Twitter, he's posted several clips of that. And well, thank you very much, Kitty. I appreciate that. And thanks for listening to The Dreamer as well. That's my personal little baby there. And so Axeman is in the process, nearing the final stages of creating these amazing animations for my next Twisted Children's Tales video. And I know I've heard him say before that he doesn't want a following on his own YouTube channel, but it seems like that may have changed around if he's getting close to 400. So if you guys don't know, if you guys haven't done so, go over to Axeman Cartoons and check out some of his work, and I'm sure you'll like it. So go ahead and subscribe as well, because you won't be disappointed. He has one of the most haunting, creepy animation styles that I've ever seen. So yeah, unless if you don't like having nightmares, then maybe don't watch his videos. But if you're accustomed to the dark and dank world of terrifying imagery and haunting faces plastered all over the inside of your eyelids, give him a shout. Yeah, that I Heard It Too is something that stands out in my mind as one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. And yeah, there you go. Axeman, I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but you definitely deserve a huge shout out. And once this gets done, that it's going to be nuts. He's outdoing himself on this animations from what I've seen. I might have seen a little bit more than even you guys have. So there's that. But But anyway, I think we're going to get ready to wrap up this live stream because I'm getting pretty tired. Congratulations on 400 subs, Axeman. Hey, wait a minute. Jalen Johnson, is it your birthday? Interesting. Happy birthday, Jalen Johnson. It's a very nice birthday to have, the day before Halloween. Oh, you know what? James Taylor, you've asked me 3 times what anime have I watched. And, is that you, Nix? I'm sorry, I've been ignoring you this whole time, haven't I? I've just been yapping away.
No, that's fine. You go ahead.
Did we talk about anime before?
I think we hit on it a little bit.
You're not a huge fan, I recall. Correct?
I've watched some things, not a lot, and probably most of it's just mainstream things, like Full Metal Alchemist, Hellsing, things like that.
Right, okay. Yes, I think we did touch on this. I'm going to finally answer James Taylor's question, and I've watched tons of anime growing up. I used to watch it on Toonami and on Cartoon Network, and my favorite animes are probably definitely Cowboy Bebop. I watched Outlaw Star. I used to watch Tenchi Muyo. All the old, mid-90s ones that were just being translated. Of course, Dragon Ball Z, as every 90s Florida kid watched every day religiously. And let me think. Ghost in the Shell, the movie, the first one. It's one of the, obviously one of the best animated movies of all time. So that goes without saying. But as far as the new stuff, I love One Punch Man. Have you seen that, Nix?
No, I haven't.
It is awesome and hilarious at the same time. I recommend it if you it's only 12 or 13 episodes, so if you ever feel like watching and slightly enigmatic and genre bending anime, that's a good one.
Really? Well, I've seen all the memes around and everything, but I never really heard what it was about, so I just kind of...
That's perfect. That you're the perfect candidate because
Really?
I wish I knew less about it going in because it would have been even more fascinating. I didn't know too much about it, but like what I did know would be I would rather not know anything. So you'll probably enjoy it a little bit more not knowing anything.
I'll give it a watch tomorrow then.
Yeah, I would love to know what you thought of it. Within the first couple episodes, you'll know whether you're going to be a fan or not. I guarantee it.
Oh, awesome.
But it is hilarious though.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
All right, so it's about, well, in the military we call it balls 30. Like if it's 12:30 a.m., in military time it's 0030.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's about balls 50. Excuse my language to anybody with sensitive ears. And I think we're going to go for another 10 minutes, and then we'll get out of here and allow everybody to enjoy the rest of the last 28 people to enjoy the rest of their lovely night. And I love you too, Sydney. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, and it was nice to talk to you finally. Yes, Axeman. Balls. That's right.
I love him.
He's more awesome than a lot of people know. We've had a lot of extensive talks about this animation project that he is working on my behalf. And the the lengths to which this man is willing to push himself to create a utterly jaw-dropping and bone-chilling visual experience, it's really admirable. And he's people have no idea how awesome he is, but they'll know. You guys will know soon enough. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I really like his style. It reminds me of like the earlier late night animations that you'd find on the cable networks, from like the late 80s to early 90s. Like,
oh yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, Aeon Flux and stuff like that. I mean, even when MTV was good, so
yeah.
But I don't know, I'm a little older than most of you guys, so I probably remember that more than you do.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I wasn't I grew up in a house where MTV was not allowed. So
oh my god.
I was somewhat sheltered from that, but nevertheless I was aware of it.
That's so sad though, but you missed the heyday with, Ren and Stimpy when it first came out and Beavis and Butthead when they were, good.
Yeah, well, I wonder sometimes what
yes, music videos.
What I would be like if I did have access to those shows, particularly Ren and Stimpy, because for some reason I have this feeling that I would be significantly different mentally if I had been watching Ren and Stimpy growing up. Because I used to watch old shows like Gumby and
so did
Thundercats.
Oh my god!
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I loved all those.
All the old school shows, even Speed Racer, and that was the first anime I ever saw was Speed Racer.
Oh my god!
And,
you might know this because you're actually on that side. Do you remember Nickelodeon when it first came out? It wasn't called Nickelodeon; it was called Pinwheel.
Oh man!
I mean, this is like back in the 70s, like late 70s, but they were still running it when I was a kid because I remember it. But, oh my god!
I've never heard of that.
Really? Well, go on YouTube. There's a couple of clips of it, but yeah, you just type in Pinwheel, and there was one show that I absolutely loved called Pinwheel Place, I believe, but it was kind of like Sesame Street.
What was it called? You just cut out there for a second.
Pinwheel Place. It's kind of like, it's like a combination of Sesame Street and like Eureka's Castle, if anybody remembers that.
Yes, I remember that. Something tells me that this is going to be terrifying.
No, it's beautiful. I love it. But yeah, I used to watch all that crap, and I was really into BBC. Public access TV had everything British, so I grew up on that. A lot of old movies. Arsenic and Old Lace is one of my favorite movies. Just stuff like that.
Oh.
But yeah, Pinwheel's awesome.
I definitely have to look that up. I don't know why I had this feeling that it was going to be something that was really like...
No, it was really sweet.
You're wondering like why were kids able to watch that at the time? For some reason my browser does not want to load. What is going on? I think it might be I might have too much going on. I still only have this little Surface tablet, so anytime I'm doing more than one or two tasks, it kind of gives me trouble. Kind of wants to fuss at me.
Well, don't crash your system.
Oh yeah, no, that would be bad during a live stream. That would kind of suck.
No, but I remember all those cartoons. David the Gnome. Oh my god, that was my favorite.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I still watch that. Hell, I was watching Count Duckula the other day, just for the hell of it.
Count Duckula, that definitely sounds familiar.
It was a spinoff to Danger Mouse. Do you remember that one?
Oh really?
Yeah,
I remember Danger Mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, let me look and see if I can find a picture of him. Wow. Yeah, I remember him, Count Duckula. What in the world made you just get up and look that up?
I love the old cartoons. They're a lot better than the stuff that's out now, or at least most of it. But
Yeah, it sounds like our buddy Al Cortez knows the deal with Speed Racer. That's good. Speed Racer is that was a serious show. I mean, people are getting killed, double crossed, and backstabbed in that show.
this on
That was
TV was good.
yes, yeah. When I'm not going to comment too much on what kids were able to withstand back then compared to now.
Oh my god,
it's a little different. That's all
most
I'll
of the
say.
kids shows now, it's just fluff. It's horrible.
Yep,
I don't like
it's
it.
nonsense. I don't like it either. It's literally it's drivel.
Mm-hmm. It
It's
really.
people running around and talking about things that don't make sense, or that it doesn't teach children anything. It's kind of annoying.
I did actually just finish Gravity Falls, and I absolutely loved that. And what is it? Over the Garden Wall? That was really good. Elijah Wood and a whole bunch of other really good people are in that one. And what else?
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls is awesome. Have you not watched it yet?
No, it's a cartoon show, I assume.
Yes. There's what, 3 seasons, maybe more. I can't remember. Yeah, just go to Kiss Cartoon and watch it there. It's awesome.
Okay, it's a Disney show.
Mm-hmm. But it's really good.
Cool.
I mean, really good.
There are some like that every even back when we were kids, there were some kids shows that are relevant to adults now. That have weird, bizarre kind of secret hidden backstories like Courage the Cowardly Dog and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I love that one too. And Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, that one was good.
I've heard of that one.
Oh, it's so cute.
I used to watch a lot of Naruto. Somebody mentioned that in the chat here.
I didn't watch it when I was younger, and I've tried to watch it now, and I can't do it.
I think you have to
annoying.
be. You have to be exposed to. Well, I watched the Japanese version. I can't listen to the American voices because they're.
Is it different?
Extremely annoying. Yeah, they're the things that he says are different. The meanings in Japanese are. They kind of come up with their own stupid catchphrases for him and stuff. It doesn't make sense.
Okay,
But,
I might try the subbed then, because I'm telling you, I got into 3 episodes and I was like, I can't stand this. Oh my god, Invader Zim. Hell yeah.
Thing. Oh yeah, Invader Zim. Yep.
I had that for my ringtone forever.
What, the theme song?
Uh-huh.
Nice. Animaniacs. Is that I assume that's what Night Companion was trying to say. Man, this is becoming a very nostalgic.
I'm sorry.
Live stream here. No, it's good. It's just bringing me back to when I was sitting watching those shows on Saturday mornings or whatever. I used to even watch Recess, that show, Hey Arnold, and those things.
I love Hey Arnold.
And I just it's just funny to think about the fact that I would be talking about these things like 20 years later to a bunch of people online. It's really interesting.
I don't know. There's a blast from the past. Max Headroom. Holy shit.
Yeah, I never knew about that. Jessica Hardick. I don't think I said hello to you, my friend. Good evening. Oh, James Taylor. I do live streams once a month, and it's basically whenever I can fit it in, or if I'm not going to be able to do, I kind of save it as my ace in the hole for if I can't make a regular video, I will do a live stream instead, because you know, it's off the cuff and I don't have to have a huge production prepared and ready to go for that. So that's kind of when I do it. But if you follow me on Twitter, that's how you'll know when I'm going to do the live stream. And that's pretty much the only way to know, because that's the only place that I can ever remember to actually tell people about. And luckily I have dear friends like Nix who will come in and help liven things up and be the voice of the chat, you know, when I need her. So it's about that time. It is 100 hours, and I would like to thank Nix once again for being here. If you and just like I said before, if you guys haven't subscribed to Nix at Penny Dreadful Moment on YouTube, it's I'll be kind of mad at you if you don't.
Oh, don't say that.
So, oh, they know I'm joking. If, you know, give her a listen, and I'm fairly confident that you will like what you hear, and you will go ahead and subscribe to her. And and Little Snips, if you're 13 years old, I don't know what you're doing at 1 a.m. being up on YouTube, but it is Saturday, so maybe you have a pass.
It is Saturday.
Thanks for yeah. You can. You're good. If your parents are okay with it, then I'm okay with it. But thanks for being here.
Awesome, you guys. I'm so glad you invited me.
You know, you are officially you're officially a regular now, and
Really?
yeah. Whenever you've been on 2 live streams of the 4 that exist. So
holy shit!
You've been on half of them.
I'm moving up in the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's, you know, you got the primetime slot there. And you know, I'm always happy to have you. Thanks for subbing to Penny Hex. I appreciate it. And unfortunately, no, Red, I am not God. But if I was, I would probably not have a YouTube channel. You know, I'd have other things to attend to. But speaking of which, if I don't go to sleep very soon, I might regret it. So, once again, this was, I know I didn't really mention it too many times, but this is my 5,000 subscriber, well, I'll say 5,000, almost 500 subscriber special. And every single one of you guys that have been here, that have been with me step by step, whether you just met me yesterday or today, maybe this is your first time hearing my voice, or maybe you've been listening to me for almost a year. I truly appreciate every single one of you guys, and thank you so much for being here. And my co-host, Nix, thank you for livening things up and helping me through this. And I look forward to talking to all of you guys again really soon in the future. And here's a spoiler alert. I'm going to be kind of away from my studio for the next few weeks. But because of that, I'm going to have a lot more time to record and to do stuff. So I might be ramping up the live streams during the month of November, because I'll be very bored otherwise if I don't do that. So just so you guys know, be on the lookout. I might be coming online to talk to you guys a little bit more often during November. So there you go. And with that, I'm going to say goodnight once and for all. Well, once and for tonight. All right. So you guys take care and be safe this Halloween. I don't want to hear about any tragedies after on November 1st. You guys, whatever you do for Halloween, whether you celebrate it or not, whatever it is, just be safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Don't do anything that I wouldn't approve of you doing, because it would be dangerous. All right? So, thank you again, Nix. And Everybody, have a good night. I'm signing off. Oh yeah, my catchphrase. I'm Mr. X, and may your nights be full of dreams.